So whoever used the microphone last, I'm not calling any names, has a knot in the wire. 322, bring Christ your broken life. This month's theme is take time to be holy. Take time to be holy, and we could almost say take time to be humble, because I believe that's what it takes to be humble, be holy, is humility. My grandfather, the carpenter, not the coal miner, told me one time when I was young that one of the most difficult things you'll ever do in life is to admit that you're wrong. Well, I was young then, and I really didn't understand what he was talking about. You know, I was forced to admit I was wrong several times. So I didn't really see what the problem was. But then I got older, you know, and experienced a few things and did a few things. And I began to understand what he was saying. It's really difficult to admit when you're wrong, because you put so much into being right. And if we liken it to someone that's building a concrete block wall, I was a helper for a mason one time, and that's a difficult job. But if we think about this mason building this wall, and he's putting these blocks up, you know, putting mortar down, and he starts noticing that on this side of that block it says, "You're right." And he keeps building this wall all the way up, and stamped on each and every block all the way up on this wall, "You're right, you're right, you're right." And the wall is so high, and he's got really good mortar there, that he couldn't even get a camera through to see on the other side, see if there's anything stamped on the other side, because he was so right, he didn't check it out. But on the other side, guess what's stamped? You're wrong. You're wrong. But he can't see that. And so he gets this wall built up, and he's blinded. I'm right. I'm always right. Look how many times I'm right. I'm right. It's very difficult to admit when you're wrong, when you've been right so many times. And guess who helped him build that wall? Well, Satan, of course, because that's what Satan enjoys doing, getting inside your head and making you think that you're right. My message tonight, take time to be humble, and you will be holy, because that's what the Lord requires of us. We've been looking at the book of James, and I'll be in James 3, beginning in verse 13. Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct, let him show his works in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast and be false to the truth. This is not the wisdom that comes down from above. We just keep telling ourselves that. This is not the wisdom that comes down from above. The wisdom that it takes to build that wall that says numerous times, "You're right, you're right, you're right." And in fact, you are wrong. But it is earthly wisdom, unspiritual, demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, There will be disorder and every vile practice. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere, and a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. Take time to be humble. Take time to be holy. And so, as we think about that challenge, that it is a more difficult thing, or maybe one of the most difficult things, to admit that I'm wrong. With the humble comes wisdom, Proverbs 11:2. Humility receives the word implanted, James 1:21. God gives grace to the humble, James 4:6. And James 4:10, He exalts the humble. Otherwise, we may say we got this wealth by our own power. Deuteronomy 8:17. Look what I did. Look how good I am. Look how right I am. You hear that selfishness, that selfish ambition, and being all about me. And what if I continue in this attitude that I'm right, I'm always right, I'm never wrong? I lose friends, I lose family, might lose my spouse, but more significant, more impactful, I lose my relationship with God. Take time to be humble. It's important and it's significant. And I think it's a good study this month for us to take time to be holy. In our humility, or pursuing humility, it's not a great thing in the world. The world probably despises that. But it's a great thing in God's kingdom. And one that we should pursue. You may have been tonight thinking about pursuing the humility that it takes to walk down that aisle, to make the good confession, to be buried in baptism, and raised to walk in newness of life, and renew or have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Or maybe you want to renew that relationship with Jesus Christ. Maybe you want to renew that relationship with God. Maybe you found that you're not always right. If the gospel calls you, please come as we stand and sing.